Hi and welcome to the latest episode of Pat's Procrastination, brought to you by the Pat's Propaganda YouTube channel with Chudders and Clazzy Clare. Welcome in, folks, to episode 26, the sleep-deprived draft recap reaction show. Yes, we're both on probably around 4 or 5 hours sleep, if that. And here we are for you, as always. So the Patriots selected at 3 in the 2024 NFL draft, and whichever way around it was said, because I can't remember because I'm really tired, Patriots select quarterback Drake May. Chudders, how are you feeling this morning?
I'm very pleased. I'm very happy. It wasn't a great surprise, I think, how the draft started. Most people want Daniels to go to May to be the option. The big question was, were the Patriots going to take it, or were they going to trade out of it? I was pleased they stayed put. They took the pick. They took the man. They've got something to build around now. They've got a young quarterback, 21.
Yeah.
They've got something to build around. There isn't the pressure. He doesn't have to come in and start day one. He can take some time. He can build. He can be ready. There's no expectation that the Patriots are in the playoffs next year. It's no, we're going to take our time to build around you the right way, play you when you're ready. I'm excited for the pick. I think he offers a lot of arm talent. He offers some leg threat. He's not a static quarterback by any means. It's a great option. I think it's the fit that a lot of fans, pundits, analysts wanted and thought was good for the Patriots. That's not to dismiss Williams and Daniels, who are great quarterbacks, but they're a different style, different breed. And the feeling was that May was the right fit. So I think it's exciting times.
It is. At least they've got a quarterback at 3. That was the first thing that I was just like, just take a quarterback 3. As I said to you, I was surprised. I wasn't convinced Daniels was going to Washington. Although obviously after the pick has happened, the discussions on the likes of Patriots Unfiltered and, the draft show and stuff, how the coach whose name now escapes me at Washington, Cliff Kingsbury, is that kind of he's that kind of coach, that kind of quarterback sort of thing, that it fits his regime, so it fits the way he wants to play. So it makes a lot of sense that they took it. There was a lot of scuttlebutt about Daniels camp, not liking the way Washington did it, and there was so much. I think that's why I was so exhausted, and I was just so waiting for it to happen last night, because there's just been so much lately, and I don't know if it's probably because we've needed a quarterback, so we've been in the midst of all this. But with regards to the quarterback, 6 quarterbacks were taken in the first round, which apparently is a new record in the draft.
6 in the first round. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have betted on that to happen even in the first round. 6 to go in the top 12. Wow.
It's a new record in the common draft era.
It's that was a surprise. It was, to me, it wasn't a surprise that, for example, Penix was the 4th quarterback off the board, because I never really bought into JJ McCarthy. Can see why he maybe went ahead of Bo Nix. But it's fair amazing. I mean, there was a lot of quarterback needy teams, so to that point, it kind of makes sense. But you'd have thought, I think it was taking Nix when they did, you'd have thought, well, maybe even if that's the man you want, maybe you could trade down, because I can't believe there was another team who was about to trade up and take Nix. But
I think
there we go.
Those two. I think the most crazy wasn't so much that Penix went. To be honest, the thing that was most crazy wasn't that he went so early, wasn't that he went in the first round, wasn't that he was the 4th. I mean, I didn't rate him, so he wasn't. I was definitely hoping they didn't get him. It was that he went to the Falcons. That's the biggest thing, after the big Kirk Cousins signing and the $100 million deal and a 24-year-old quarterback who hasn't really got time to sit. And that, for me, was like, oh, the Falcons are going to be the drama team this year.
That's a really interesting one, because, like you say, you can see how teams want to draft a quarterback to back up. Like, you draft a young quarterback to learn behind a veteran, and Cousins is a brilliant veteran to learn from. At 8, it seems a bit early.
Yeah.
To sign a quarterback, like you say, who's 24, who's probably not going to play for at least 2 years, to be honest, assuming Cousins is healthy.
That's the thing.
Plus, the other sort of strange element of it, Penix, who's had a lot of injury history, if he's now going to sit for 2 years from meaningful football contact, because he'll obviously train every week, every day, but he can be taking the hits and moving around the pocket truly like you do in a game. If they're expecting him then to be a starter in, say, 2 years, that's a body that's not been taking hits. That's a body that's not been taking football pressure, football hard tackles. How's that body going to stand up when you're asked to do that at the age of 26, 27 in a few years' time with the injury stats? It's a very strange pick, that, because of Cousins. If they didn't take Cousins, it would be a lovely pick for them. But it seems a very strange situation. And there's rumours as well, Arthur Blank, the sort of war room footage that comes out, apparently he did not look a happy man at all. Was having to be explained to. Yeah, apparently he was having to be explained to why they decided to make that pick. It's it's an interesting one.
When I caught back up with everything this morning, because I didn't quite catch the whole of the first round last night, there was 3 sort of not strange things, and I don't want to say losers either, because that's I'm not sure how I want to word this, but you guys will get what I mean. The Atlanta thing, that was crazy. That shocked me. That was the biggest shock of the night for me. The Raiders taking another top tight end. They took Michael Mayer last year, and they need a quarterback. Now, I'm not knocking Brock Bowers. Obviously, nobody out there would probably think that I would. I was really surprised that was their choice. Now, he's a really good offensive piece. Brilliant. Not knocking that they should take him. It's just they took Mayer last year. So it's like they almost like double dipped, if you like, first round draft tight ends, and they need a quarterback. So that was the other shocking thing. Let me finish first, and then.
Well,
then
can I just ask? Okay. Is this your way of announcing you're now a Raiders fan?
No. I knew you'd disrupt my flow. I'm too tired with this. And I actually quite like this, but it's also kind of from an NFL standpoint, it's weird. The Bills did what I understand is a double trade back, missing out on 2 of the top wide receivers when they actually really need one.
That's why I think they're about to screw us tonight. I think they'll take AD Mitchell, who I would absolutely love the Patriots to take, but they're picking one before us. I think they're about to take a really good receiver just before we come.
Put it into this perspective. Say the Patriots didn't need it. Put the Patriots in the same situation as the Bills. They don't need a top quarterback. They've just got rid of one of their top offensive weapons, and they've double traded back and not picked up the top wide receivers. As Patriots Nation, would we not be like, what are you doing? Because who did they take?
Not if they end up. I think if they end up with AD Mitchell, the fans will be ecstatic. They'll be happy with that. They've got a top receiver, plus they got some slightly better picks out of it as well. You look at the Patriots last year, they traded down when we all looked at the board and went, Gonzo's on the board, why aren't you taking Gonzo? They traded down and they still got Gonzo. And we were like, okay, brilliant, good move. The year before, we traded down twice when we had a need at guard, and then we managed to get a guard. Wow, that really worked out very well for us.
But you see my point.
I know what you mean. If I was a Bills fan, I would have been hoping they would have stayed put and took a top receiver where they did. But if the first pick tonight, if they take AD Mitchell, I'm going to be ecstatic if I'm a Bills fan, because they've still got a top receiver and they got some capital back out of it.
Not convinced personally. I think they've made a grave error. But we shall see. The season is not yet but started, so it's the year is young, shall we say? So yeah. But for me, those were the 3 proper head tilting, situations.
Yeah, and to touch back on the Raiders one, it is surprising. Back-to-back years they've taken first-round tight ends when they desperately need a quarterback.
As if I'm running the
However,
show.
exactly. That's why I thought you might be a Raiders fan now.
I'm not the Raiders GM.
But I mean, but they were picking 13. By 13, the top 6 quarterbacks are gone. They're not taking Spencer Rattler at 13, which is what they may end up doing tonight at some point, if that's the way they want to go. But they could have traded up, but maybe they tried, and maybe no one wanted to trade with them.
It's true.
Or what they were being told they'd have to give up. They didn't want to give up. Even then, when you're picking,
Daniels, wasn't there? I'm sorry.
Exactly. Even then, when you're picking at 13, like you say, do you really need another tight end? He's a great weapon, though. He was,
of course, yeah, not denying.
He was the best offensive weapon on the board at that point. But maybe you could have traded back. You know, found someone to trade back with and taken, Brian Thomas or something like that later on in the draft. But that was a surprise. Like I say, it was a big surprise that 6 quarterbacks went in the top 12. That's amazing. I think it leaves some interesting options for tonight, but we'll get to that later on, I think.
For the record, Bowers going 13 isn't the surprising thing, just in case anybody asks me if they misunderstand. It's where he went. It's the Raiders, and it's simply because of them taking Michael Mayer last year in the first round and using that draft capital. They've just, as brilliant as I think he is, and he's probably going to prove me wrong and cause some major upset and wins for the Raiders. It feels like surely they needed something a bit more. Is that a case of they took the best player off the board rather than what they needed? And I don't mean quarterback, because obviously what you just said, all the quarterbacks have gone. Are you telling me they have no weakness on their O or D line or anything like that? It just seemed a little bit making their TE room very, very rich. But I found it very interesting. So, and we all knew that they were going to take a quarterback at 3, so there's only so much to talk about.
So, what? Talk me through, Claire, because we obviously had talked about it for a very, very long time. You refused to record it. What was your mood when Washington announced they were taking Daniels?
Shock.
Really? That wasn't at all. It's what I was expecting. I was hoping they'd take May and Patriots to take Daniels, but I wasn't shocked at all. Is what I was expecting. So were you then shocked when the Patriots took May? Did you think they were going to trade out? Did you think they would stay put, take him?
I think, to be honest, I didn't think anything. I just waited, because there was the chance that they were going to trade down. There was the chance that they were going to take JJ McCarthy and all this kind of stuff. I was really surprised when Washington took Daniels. I didn't think they were going to take him, although, as I said, in hindsight, I know he fits a lot better and he makes a lot of sense. But there was so much out there. There was so much out there on everything, really, that it's kind of barely what do you believe. But I was still surprised. My honest answer is I didn't think about it. And when Washington announced that they'd take Daniels, I was genuinely surprised. And then there was no thought process, because there were so many possibilities that I didn't want to think about, that I was then just waiting to find out. And that was it. So I'm sorry, it's quite a boring answer, really, but that's true. That is exactly how it was for me, in the dark on my sofa last night, this morning. What about you?
Like I said, I wasn't surprised Daniels went. I was just praying that we didn't hear there's a trade. There wasn't. Then I was praying we didn't hear JJ McCarthy. And we got exactly the man that I thought they'd get, and that I think is going to be a great fit for the Patriots. What the big thoughts now are that this Patriots coaching staff are able to treat Drake May a lot better than they did Matt Jones. They give him the weapons, they give him the support. They don't necessarily start in week 1 saying, right, you have to go do it off the bat now. If he's ready, start week 1. I've got no problem with that if he's ready.
Yeah.
But there isn't the pressure. You don't have to be hitting the ground running. You can take your time to get it right. Let's get this quarterback development right, so that in 3 years we're not again looking at the draft and who's coming out. My onus pressure now is on the coaching staff to get this development right this time, because he's got a lot of elite traits. Like I said, his size, his mobility, his arm strength. There's stuff to work on with his reading, with his footwork. So I hope they have the coaching staff around him now to help him develop and become that quarterback that the Patriots desperately need.
I mean, they always say, or it's always said, don't look at what they say, look at what they do. It's always the thing, regardless of who it is, really. I know a lot of that was for Bill because he was so tight-lipped and stuff, but it's generally the consensus. Don't, you know, they can sit up there and just give you whatever, but then go away and it's what they do. I mean, your bugbear was the splashing the cash thing, throwing money at it. They said how they were going to do it, and then they didn't really seem to do it. When they were doing the press conference, or whatever you want to brand it as, after the pick was made, and Wolf and Mayo were talking to the media about the selection and stuff like that, they said it. And now I'm not going to obviously quote word for word. I'm just going to give a generalization, folks. So, you know, if I misquote anything, I apologize profusely. They mentioned about not necessarily starting him straight away. There are other quarterbacks in that quarterback room and that kind of thing. So we know that he won't necessarily be thrown in if maybe he's not ready. Now, being, you know, the number 3 first round draft pick, you hope he's ready quite quickly, you know, because they've invested. But there's also that element of maintain your investment, protect your investment as well. And the other thing was the way that they have spoke about things. They know that they need to get this offense in a good place. They know it wasn't in a good place. Well, that's what I'm taking from what they were saying. So to me, it seems like, well, it's obvious. They can see the flaws that we can see. They can see the issues that we can see. And it's a multi-million-dollar industry. You know, they're not stupid. They're going to try and sort it out. That, you know, they've got a man, they've got a boss who wants wins. You know, it's his job on the line if he fluffs this up in regards to Mayo and Wolf. So, you know, they're not just going to take stupid risks for risk's sake, because they've, you know, their jobs are on the line. They're going to be looked at under a microscope. Although, yeah, granted, they're going to be cut some slack because it's the first year. So it's, you know, it's a weighing scales. It's 6 of those, 1 half a dozen of the other. But my point being is what you said about hope that they don't treat him the way that Mac was treated. They have verbalized that they know that that was wrong. So you would assume, I know you shouldn't assume, but from the things that they are saying, they saw how wrong that was, and they know how to at least attempt to be much better than that. So I guess I've got the confidence in that respect.
Yeah, I hope so. There's still 2 glaring holes, and maybe this is how we can transition into the future or the picks tonight. They're still missing a standout ex-receiver. They're still missing a left tackle. They have people who, if they had to play a game tomorrow, can play those positions, but not at an elite level, not at a top level that's going to help Drake May to develop.
One quick point to that. I don't know if, from what they have said, the way that they have said it, and by them I generally mean Mayo and Wolf a little bit, I don't know if they see the O-line as much of a weakness as we do at this point. The way that players have been mentioned and things like that, I'm not sure if it's quite. Now, I'm just sort of making assumptions from what I've heard them say and the way they've said it and stuff like that. So I don't know how much hope I'm holding out now for a tackle, as much as I want a tackle. I wanted them to double dip a tackle. I said this to you before. I've been saying this for months as well. I think I said it last year and the year before, maybe. So that has me a little bit dubious at the moment for day 2, I think. And yeah, day 2.
I'll be worried if they don't take a tackle with one of the next 2 picks.
Yeah, me too.
It's not impossible. But I'll be very worried if one of these isn't a tackle. There's still some good names on the board there. Personally, I like Paul, Rosengarten, and Fisher. There's still Suamatia and Amagaji. I'm probably butchered that name. So apologies. There's at least 5 good tackles there, and quite possibly some of those will be available round 3 as well. One or two of those may be available round 3. They might not.
A lot of tackles went off the board in the first round. I mean, it's a reasonably deep class, but there's already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 O-linemen have already gone.
That's it. They have plans. They have, like I said, they have tackles that they can use if they have a game tomorrow. But I like I said for a long time, I was hoping that Onwenu was going to be guard more than tackle. He's a good tackle, so I don't mind that as a plan. I think he'll perform well there. They've brought in I've forgotten his name now. A Corafor from the Steelers.
I was going to say
who at the moment is penciled in as left tackle.
Yes.
He isn't a starting left tackle in the NFL.
He was in college. That's what Elliot Wolf said.
But he's not in the NFL. He was drafted to the NFL and he's not played there in the NFL.
No.
He will play there if they need someone to play there. If that is their long-term plan, I'm worried about it. Because again, you then start to creep into that area of, well, we didn't protect Matt very well. His offensive line wasn't very good, and look how he suffered. I don't want people to be in Drake May's face for 17 games or for 13 games, let's say next season, if you rest the first 4, and him not to be able to develop properly because he doesn't have the time with the ball in his hand.
But he's taller, so they'd need to be in his face a bit higher up now.
That said, there's 2 receivers there that I'd love it if the Patriots got either. Mitchell, I would love it if they got Mitchell. I feel like it's almost nailed on that's who the Bills are going to take at 33 tomorrow morning. Tonight, essentially tomorrow morning UK time.
So is it the Bills and then it's the Patriots again?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So I think the Bills are going to take Mitchell because they need that receiver, and he's the best receiver on the board. That leaves McConkey. I think he's a great option. I'd love it if the Patriots took him. Then beyond that, there's still Franklin, Coleman, Wilson. Looking at the round 3 picks, there's Burton, Baker, Wilson. There's Walker, which personally I'm not that high on him, Tez Walker, but he played with Drake May at North Carolina, so they've already got that relationship there. I think you can do better at receiver than Tez Walker, but if you want someone to come in day one and have a relationship that possibly would help May develop, then Walker could be the pick. His skill set I don't think is as good personally, but I can see if that happened, why that happened. I just love it if they stay put, or even see if Bills want to trade again, but I doubt it. But if the Patriots end up with Mitchell, that would be phenomenal. That would be a brilliant start. And then tackle round 3, love that. I think there's a chance the Patriots don't stay put. I think they could move around. I think there's quite a few players still left on the board that I think they'll be getting phone calls for offers. They may not take them, but I think they'll be getting phone calls for offers to move around a bit now.
There wasn't that much moving around last night in the end.
Not really.
No. And I mean, really, the Vikings moving up, they only moved at 1 pick just to make sure that they secured their quarterback. Slightly surprising, because I wouldn't have thought the Jets would have took McCarthy, really.
No, they wouldn't have. But almost certainly what happened there is the Jets took phone calls from other teams, and that's where it could be the Raiders. It could have been Denver, and they said to Minnesota, "Look, Denver are going to give us this to come up and get McCarthy, or the Raiders are going to give us this to come up and get him. If you want him, you got to come up and take him." Almost certainly that's what happened. They said, "Okay, we'll trade. We want McCarthy. We're going to do it." And then I'm guessing nobody called to trade them with them again at 11 to go up above Denver. Yeah, it was. It started off the first maybe 7 picks were pretty much no surprises, and you thought, okay, this is the way a lot of mock drafts have gone. Those positions, those players, how long is this going to go on for? Then when the quarterbacks started going, that's when it started. The next 3 quarterbacks started going, that's when it started getting crazy. I think the Bears have had a brilliant draft. To come out of it with Williams and Adunze, that's, again, what a lot of people mocked. There's not massive surprise there, but I think
was going to say, they had 1 and 9. They were going to do really well. They weren't ever going to come away with trash if they stuck to 1 and 9.
There's a chance, for example, if say the Falcons hadn't taken Penix and they'd taken a Dunze, then what would Chicago have done then? Might they have traded back? Might they have taken a tackle? But to come out of that, they're doing, if you like, a better version of what we want the Patriots to do. We want the Patriots to take a quarterback and then a receiver they can develop together. They've got the quarterback. If they can get Mitchell, I'm very happy with May and Mitchell as he's starting too, if that's what you can get. But the Bears have done it even better with Williams and Adunze. That's 2 great weapons. I think the Bears could be exciting to watch.
I give them less credit because it's not that difficult when you've got the 1st and the 9th pick to do really, really well. I would have managed that, so I don't think I can give them much credit. Yeah, it's great if you're a Bears fan, you've got some, brilliant weapons to watch type thing, but I'm not giving them credit for doing well at picking at 1 and 9. Sorry.
Yeah, but you could give them credit because that's what the trades they did. No. They traded away their first pick last year to get essentially Williams this year. Okay.
Credit where credit's due. I don't feel
so.
It's
what are you hoping the Patriots do tonight, Claire?
Yes, I hope they get a good tackle and a good wide receiver. I can't list as many names as you can because I don't know as many as you. So I'm not even going to embarrass myself and try.
Do you have a preference with which order they go, which they take 34?
No, for me it was the worth kind of thing. If at 34 there's an offensive tackle that's worth that kind of pick, then yeah. Because there's a gap, from what I understand, there's a gap between in regards to the tackles. There is a kind of drop off. So for me, it's get the best value for money. I said, say money, inverted commas, but I think now personally, it's just come away from this draft with some really good players. Now we've got the quarterback. You've got something to work around. Let's just get some good players. Let's not get cute. Let's not get, let's not show off. Let's just be very vanilla and get some good players at some good picks. I just feel like that's what we need this time. Just be vanilla.
Fair enough. So I've mentioned a few receivers and tackles that I think are on the board for the Patriots. Other positions that are available, there's some top talent. I don't think the Patriots will go in this direction, but they could, depending on if they decide to, for example, move around the board or they really like the value of who's left. It's a bit like when the Patriots took Barmore because he dropped out of the first round and they couldn't believe it, so they took him in the second a few years ago. So there is Jatavian Sanders, tight end, who I know you're not that high on. I don't think they'll take him, but he that's a possible day 2 move they could make. I don't think so now.
I'd be
conversations
stunned.
We've had offline, exactly. The move they've made, taking who's their new tight end? Wilcox, is it? Wilcox. There's not.
Can I just make a point? Sorry, just so that people don't think that I'm not high on Sanders. It's just he's too rich a tight end for what the Patriots need. So I haven't really. It's like the Brock Bowers thing. I never really looked at it because he's too rich for what the Patriots need. So it isn't so much that I'm down on the player per se. It's they don't need to take it. He's going to go higher, and they don't need to do that. This is my don't get cute. Be vanilla. They don't need to get him. As much as I do want a great tight end, of course, I don't think they need to do that when there's more on the board. There's more available. Now, if they were getting at 34 and there wasn't the depth that there was at like tackle and wide receiver this year, yeah, you're talking about a completely different situation. But they're not. They need a wide receiver. They need an offensive tackle. They need an edge guy. And I think there's still a couple of
There's
names
still
out there.
Braswell and Ellis, who are a couple of good edge players that will be available early, mid, second round.
Just get good players.
They could get one, but I think
that you
tackle
need.
and receiver are too much. There's a couple of good running backs, which they'll need one next year, but I don't think it's worth getting Blake Corum or Brooks now. There's a couple of good safeties, which again is a soft area of need, but not round 2 with Newbin Bullard. Cornerback, I don't know whether you saw Bill Belichick, who thought that the third need for the Patriots was cornerback.
I saw
he
that.
Said
I saw that.
One quarterback, two tackle, 3 was cornerback. Corner McKinstry and Sandstrill are still available. I don't think the Patriots are going to draft any of these players, but they are top names that, if they wanted to go and zig when we're expecting them to zag, it's an area they could go to. But hopefully it's going to be receiver and tackle, I think.
For me, it's the offensive needs were too big. Sort that out. Then if you're in a situation where there's a really good defensive player still a bit available, maybe he's not quite the position you need, then you start looking at that. But really sort out what you need. That's why I said don't get cute. Just do what they need to do, and then I'll be fine. That's me personally, obviously, but yeah, then it'll just be like, then I'll be fine.
I agree. The other option which we could potentially touch on is whether they don't pick and they trade for players. AJ Brown signed a contract with the Eagles, and that came out pretty much as the first pick.
Yeah,
it was announced.
Maybe they wanted to steal some of the news.
Yeah, it was strange timing. That
the Eagles were feeling just like they wanted attention.
Exactly. Potentially Ayuk or Deebo Samuel could still be available. Yeah, that could be an option they go in. Personally, I don't want to get too caught up on Mitchell because I'm fairly certain the Bills are going to take him. But I think, it's a great opportunity for the Patriots to take a young receiver to pair with May.
Say Mitchell isn't available because say we know for certain the Bills take him. At 34, what would you prefer? You don't necessarily have to name names with wide receivers. Would you prefer one of the next best wide receivers that's available, shall we say, or them to get the likes of Ayuk or T. Higgins?
It's a good question. If Mitchell's not available, I'd probably take Ayuk. The next receiver in the draft that would interest me is McConkey, but I'd probably say I'd rather have Ayuk than McConkey. But if Mitchell's gone and they're not trading, I'd love them to take McConkey then. Love McConkey.
What if Mitchell is available? Would he be your pick over Ayuk? Oh, right,
Mitchell.
Okay. I didn't deep dive the wide receivers.
Because now Ayuk is a better player than Mitchell, like day one, if you like.
Yeah.
It's that I see a lot of upside in Mitchell, and he's young. You've got those extra years, that extra cap space, even than. I know the Patriots have got money to burn still. They've still got cash to burn on Ayuk, but you don't have to pay him immediately. Mitchell is who I'd love the Patriots to take next. That's what I'd love them to do with 34. I wouldn't even be against them, like I say, trading with the Bills to go up and get him. You wouldn't have to give up too much, maybe a fifth. I'd do that. 6th.
Maybe the pick that they were going to use on a tight end. Yeah, thanks.
I'd do that.
How dare you? I would not be happy if it was proven that was the tight end pick.
I'd do that. I think that there is a chance. I find it unlikely the Patriots are just going to pick 34 and 68. I feel like there's going to be some movement. It could be trading down. It could be trading up. It could be acquiring an additional pick by trading Judon. I don't think that's likely, and I don't really want it. But I don't know. I feel like I don't think the Patriots are just going to stay put now. Day 2 is when I expect throughout the league, like you said, round 1 there wasn't much movement.
No.
Day 2, I expect there to be a lot of teams moving around the board now to get the players they want, the positions they need.
So you think they're going to move around? I think they're going to stay put and take 34 and 68. I reckon.
Okay. Are you wanting a sandwich bet this?
Well, there's so many. We can say that, but there's so many now stacking up that it's just getting a little bit ridiculous.
To clarify, I won a sandwich bet last night because Claire bet me that she didn't think that Daniels was going in the top 4. So I won. That was possibly the easiest.
No, I didn't
sandwich
say
bet
that.
You definitely did.
I did not say that he wasn't going in the top 4. I said that he was going to the Patriots. That was what I said.
I have receipts for this. We can discuss this next time.
He won. I'm not debating you won a sandwich.
Okay.
It's the actual reasoning behind it. I didn't say he wasn't going in the top 4.
You think
I think
you asked me? You asked me what the lowest is I thought he would go, and this was probably 2 months ago, and I said the lowest I thought he could go is 4, because if by some miracle Washington didn't take him, and the Patriots didn't take him, a team would definitely trade up into 4 to get him.
Yeah.
And you said, okay, we want a sandwich bet on that, and I said yes. Damn right.
Okay. I feel like the details are a little bit skewed. I know that you won a sandwich bet because Washington took Daniels. That's what I believe the sandwich bet was for, but we'll do this off air because it's like not fair to the viewers.
Well,
to be honest with you, because we need to give them back their day, to be honest.
The other bet I think I won yesterday was that Claire did bet quite a long time ago, and she may regret this one, is that she said if the Patriots take a quarterback at 3, the Patriots will finish second in the division.
Yeah.
And you're still confident on that?
Yeah.
Excellent. So that's another sandwich bet I've just won.
I'm still behind. Okay.
I hope she wins that. I hope the Patriots win the division, go on and win the Super Bowl the first year with Drake May, and oh my gosh, what an amazing decision it was.
There you go.
I think that's going to be a tough one to win.
And on that, folks, we will wrap it up and give you back your Friday because we've run over time as usual. So, from him, Chudders, from myself, Clazzy Clare, this has been episode 26, the sleep-deprived draft recap reaction to Drake May going to the Patriots at 3. As always, tune in next time, folks. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. And as always, even today, when I'm really tired, go Pats.
Happy May Day, LFG.